Let's take a look at three main types of studies. So here we have some examples. A newspaper polled randomly selected residents in a town about which mayoral candidate they prefer. That's a sample survey. So we're asking every member of a sample the same set of questions, and then we're going to record their answers. A doctor conducts a clinical trial of a new blood pressure medicine by prescribing it to half the patients in the study and measuring the effect it has on their blood pressure. That's an experiment. So we're applying a treatment to some group or groups, and then we're going to measure the effects of those treatments. A grocery store wonders how many customers bring reusable grocery bags to the store. They have an employee stand at the checkout and count the number of people using reusable bags. This is a good example of an observational study. You're going to measure, you'll observe members of a sample in such a way that they are not affected by the study. Let's take a look at this question. In which type of study might a person be unaware that he or she is a participant? Let me give you a minute. And that would be an observational study. An observational study, you're just being observed, and you may or may not know that you are a participant in that study. What type of study could you use to answer the following questions? I recommend that you pause the video, see if you can answer them on your own, and then come back and I'll review them. So our first question, how many hours per day do lions sleep? Well, we certainly couldn't do a sample survey on them. We'd have to ask them a set of questions. That's not going to happen. You don't need to apply a treatment to them, but if you observe them, you can watch how many hours per day they're sleeping and then record that data. How many students in a school would like the cafeteria to serve breakfast? Well, here's one that you would need to ask them a question. So you would ask students the same question. Would you like the cafeteria to serve breakfast? And you do that to a sample of your population. So this would be a sample survey. And then a group of plants is not growing well compared to the rest. What should you change to improve their growth? So this one, you would need to apply a treatment. You want to see what is going to cause a change. And you might want to try a couple different things, a couple different treatments. But now remember, when you do that, you also need to keep some that you don't do anything different to, so you can measure whether or not that treatment was effective. And we're going to get into that a little bit more later on in this section. Let's take a look at this common error. Conducting an experiment might be the most efficient way to answer a question, but it may be unethical to do so. For example, you would not intentionally expose people to pollution to test its effect on asthma rates. In these cases, an observational study is more appropriate. So here's our try it. What type of study is described? And again, read through these, pause the video, and then come on back and check your answers. A gym asks its customers if they would prefer the gym to open earlier in the morning. So here's one. Again, you're asking a question. You want to know, would they prefer the gym to open earlier in the morning? So what you're going to do is you're going to ask that question to a sample of your clients and then take a look at that data and make the decision. That is a sample survey. A gym tries out a new weightlifting method to see if it will build muscle for their customers faster than their current method. Well, here you're applying a treatment, so this would be an experiment. And a gym counts the customers who come before 8 a.m. notice if you were one of those customers, you probably wouldn't even know that you were participating in this. This is an observational study. And now let's go into example 2. We're going to talk about bias. So bias is when you get some sort of result that might misrepresent the population. So this is a really good example here. People who are surveyed on a sunny Saturday afternoon, 65% of people feel happy. Same amount of people are surveyed Monday morning, 35% of people are happy. That's bias. Of course, you're going to probably feel a little bit more happy, you know, when you're in the beginning of your weekend on a nice afternoon versus a Monday morning. I don't know how many people are really happy on a Monday morning. So in the following situation, are the differences between groups potentially due to bias? A school wants to know the average height of its students. The school randomly chooses some students and measures their height. Some students are under 5 feet tall and some are over 5 feet 5 inches tall. So again, maybe pause, think on this a little bit, and come on back. Okay, so if you think about it, if you have a population of students, we're going to have a wide variety of heights, but it's still going to be within a reasonable degree. There's nothing going to be too far off. So in this instance, it's not necessarily the result of bias. A true random sample, you might have some more from both extremes, but definitely we don't see any bias here. Now let's take a look at this. Try it again. Pause the video, come on back and review. A soft drink company calls 500 people at random and asks, "Isn't it true that our product is better than our rival's product?" And 75% of the people respond, "Yes." Is this an example of bias? Explain. Well, yeah, that is an example of bias, because if you're calling them and you are saying that you are that person, you're asking them to approve of you, you're being influential. So really, to make this not biased, you would need some sort of neutral source to ask these questions.